Hello everyone, welcome you all for our next session, that is session number 4. Actually now we are heading towards the last session from our unit number 1, okay, that is unit number 1 underscore session number 4. Okay, so in this session we are going to discuss on the last topic from the unit number 1, that is user centered design. Okay, we are going to discuss on this concept thoroughly in this unit number 1 session number 4 session. These are what our session objectives for this session, these are what our session outcomes. Okay, moving on now, let us start with the first. What actually is the user centered design? The term itself is very explanatory, very elaborative. User centered design. What we are going to learn means up till now in the unit number 1, what we have learned in the very first session, we have seen what HCI is, what is human, what is computer, what is interaction. Yes or not? Then we have seen disciplines where you can use HCI, where you can use employ the HCI. Okay, and in the previous 2 sessions we have seen the principles of HCI. Okay, every time what we are considering from the term HCI, C stands for a computer. Okay, but since I have told you in the very first session that computer is not actually related to only desktop or only your laptops. Computer can be any system, or your fan also, or your mobile phones also, or you can consider your calculator also. It can be also example of systems. Okay, it can be software, it can be hardware. Okay, and now we are imagining that we are actually the HCI developers, HCI designers, and by assuming our role as HCI developers or HCI designers, we are actually trying to develop systems virtually in that constant that we want our user to be satisfied. Yes or not? So in all these lectures we are talking about design or error free operation or user satisfaction or productivity or successful product. Okay, but when all things will be get done, whenever your user will be satisfied. Yes or not? You are developing system for your user but not for yourself. Are you getting me? Okay, so basically user centered design, as the name suggests, is nothing but a process, or it is nothing but an iterative process which works on the development and design of all those processes. And basically in this you have to put your more focus on understanding of who will be using the product. Means again and again I am saying that, just like that we have seen very first principle of HCI, that is know your user. Here also I am concentrating you on same term, understanding who will be using the product. See, you will feel that I am trying to explain you the same thing multiple times, but yet again whenever you will go in the development stage, this thing is very important for the successful product. Otherwise what will happen, if you don't know who your users are, if you don't know how your users will perform, in what situation will they perform, you can't design the better product. Okay, so hence this term has included in your syllabus, that is user centered design, so as to deploy the standardized product or the error free product or the product which is as it is expected from the user, that will be get delivered to your user. Okay, so this is the detailed process in which session we are going to look after it, the user centered design. Okay, that I have written here, UCD, user centered design, means I am calling it as UCD now from now on. UCD is an iterative design process in which designers focus on the users and their needs in every phase of design process. Okay, so again what I am trying to say, it is an iterative design process. Why I am calling it as iterative? Iterations means what? Loops or the continuous operation till some condition occurs. This is what an iteration. correct or not? We are going to learn the flow of UCD in the further slides. So there you will get this term iterative sessions or the iterative work. But I want to concentrate you on the term that being a HCR developer, we are going to focus on users and their needs in every phase of design process. Means whenever HCR developers wants to develop something for their users, they will set some few steps for their development. Okay, and again for development there are again n numbers of the steps, and that steps are nothing but, in the very first step we are going to elicit the requirements from our user. Okay, this is what is the first step, to accept the requirements. Fine, means for example, if I am a user, okay, and you all are the developers, and okay, and I as being a user, I want a particular application which will allows me to perform all mathematical operation or log based applications or all derivation integration part of applications. So in that case I can say that I am a user and I want you to make I want you to produce a calculator for me, a scientific calculator like this. Okay, let us try to assume that I am a user, okay, you are the developers, and I want you to prepare the scientific calculator like this for me. Getting? So what will happen? Being a user, in the very first step I will produce my requirements to you, okay, that I want the calculator providing all these operations like plus, minus, then all those mathematical operations like log or sine, any kind, all these applications. Fine. So I have provided my requirements. After eliciting the requirements, you being a developer, you will work on its design. Okay, so what will be the design of it? Getting me? So again in the design part my involvement won't be there, because that actually the developers part, how they are going to design the calculator for me. Okay, so now assume that being a developer, if you have designed a calculator for me, means for example this is a very good UI actually that I want to show over here, very good UI. Okay, buttons are there, you can see numbers are there, you can see the tasks to be performed, that you can perform sine, then cos, then many other things are also there like square root and square fractions, and many other operations are also there. Okay, so I can get it clearly that I want what I want to do. But for example, if you have changed the design of this calculator from this design to some another design, okay, that means if the numbers font will be reduced, or in some another case, means see this pattern is the vertical pattern, if you have made this as horizontal pattern, this is also possible, those can also get made. Okay, this is also possible. This is what is the design. Okay, after that the next stage is the evaluation phase, where you will evaluate your product against the requirements of the user. Okay, now what will happen? In the design phase you will design something for me, means you will design the UI, you have designed this calculator, okay, and you have check it for the evaluation purpose, means whether it is giving you the correct result or not. And for evaluation again you have performed evaluation on your own, you haven't included me in that. And the last stage is the deployment stage. Okay, and in the deployment stage you have deployed this calculator to me. Okay, now I am a user, I will use this calculator, I will check whether all operations are working or not, and somehow if I found one application or the one task, the erroneous task, if I found some task is erroneous, means for example I can say that, for example, if multiplication is erroneous, that means whatever the two numbers that I am providing, their multiplication result is something erroneous. If I am getting such kind of output, then what? Then this design is not usable for me. See, I am using the term usable, correct? This is not useful for me also. And because of this property, because of this erroneous fault that this calculator has possessed, what will I do? I don't popular, means my mouth publicity of your application will be reduced down, because what will I say? yes, this calculator is not providing me the correct result, this, don't buy this, this is going to be happen. So what is the way to overcome from this situation? You have to involve your user in every single phase. Okay, what has happened, your user was involved only in the requirement phase and only in the deployment phase, right? But you want your users involvement in both these phases also, in design phase also and in evaluation phase also. Means I am not going to say that user is actually going to prepare the things, no, not at all, but user will be there for giving the continuous feedbacks, for giving continuous inputs iteratively in all the stages. Means for example, what was the problem here? Here the problem was in the design and in the evaluation. So if you would have included me in the design and evaluation phase, then the error would have been removed, yes or not? So this is what is the importance of including users in your software design process or in your device or in your system design process. So this is what is the importance of user centered design. Okay, so moving on. Now see, if I'm saying that you should think about your user first, you should give the highest priority to your user, to the user's requirement. But how to achieve this, or how to provide more attention to the users? So there are three things on which we are working. First is the information. You have to identify the categories from, means you have to identify your users categories, that whatever the application that I am that I am developing, who will be the users of that application, who is going to use that application. Okay, how many users will be there who will use my application, or in what context they will use it, or in what situation will they use it. You have to identify all these things, of what age groups they belongs to, from what education background they are. You have to take out all the information related to your user. This is very, very, very important. Okay, once you have all the information in hand, now you will understand the user's needs. Now what exactly the user wants from you. Okay, once you have studied all the background details of your user, now you will study what are your users needs, what is your user's requirement. When you have these things in your hand, like background information, users need, now you will think about your business goals. See, we are making softwares, we are making systems for our user, yes or not? But what will be our goals? Our first goal is what? Customer satisfaction. Second goal is product gain and the profit, yes or not? This is again equally important to me. So I have to set that I want my product to be successful in both the aspects, in customer satisfaction also and in proper gain and profit also. Correct or not? And if all these things goes hand in hand, like prerequisite information, users requirements and your business goals, then it leads to what is actually important, that is the user experience. Okay, means for example, I will take the same example again. If you would have included me in every stage for developing this calculator, then the chances of making errors would have been reduced. Okay, and in that case, user experience, means my experience to use this calculator will be increased, yes or not? Mouth publicity will also increase. In that way, your gain also increase, your profit will also increase, so your business goals will be achieved. Getting this? So by this way you can achieve the satisfaction, the customer satisfaction. Okay, there are some terms related to user centered approach, okay, on which you have to think upon whenever we are eliciting the requirements from our user, out of which the first is the empathy. Now this empathy is what? It is nothing but the ability to imagine someone, how they are feeling, what is their mental state, what are their moods. This is what is the empathy towards user. Okay, means whatever the target users of your system, whoever will be the target users of your system, you have to think about their empathy first, that in which situation they are going to use this, in what emotional moods, backgrounds they are going to use it. Okay, You have to you have to feel their emotions, you have to feel their, you have to imagine their feeling, that in what feeling they are using it. Okay, so this is what is the empathy towards user. Next, you should possess the optimism. Yes or not? Optimism means what? You should have that continuous eager in you to produce the good things or produce the better things for your user. Next is what? The iteration. Iteration means what again? The continuous improvement to the customer satisfaction. Next, creative confidence and belief in making. Means once you set the confidence in your user that yes, we are delivering you the correct system, you will have faith in you. They will believe that yes, the designers or developers will provide me the good results or the better results. Embracing ambiguity. Ambiguity means the confusions or negative, means you should provide your applications or your system should be error free or it should be unambiguous. Unambiguous means what? There should not be any confusion between while using your system. Last will be learning from failure. Means after achieving all these things, there again 1% chance that there can be an errors, there can be the mistakes, but still you should be able to learn from your mistakes too. Okay, this is what is the iteration again. If you would have found certain errors in your application, you should able to recover that errors also, these errors also. Okay, this is what is the some terms related to user centered design. Okay, moving on. Now we are trying to learn that user centered design is the iterative process. Let us try to learn that what is this iterative process and how UCD is an iterative process. Okay, so basically UCD or the user centered design is nothing but a mixture of two methods for eliciting the requirements. First is the investigative methods using interviews, surveys and some investigative methods, and second way is by generating methods or the brainstorming methods. What we want to do actually, we want our user to provide us the requirements. Okay, so to accept requirements from our user, we can either go for the investigative methods, that means the investigation purpose, that means we can actually go for field surveys or interviews with the user. Means what will I do? Being a HCI developer, I will take out the interviews of my users, that what will be their requirement, what they want, in what time span they want. Okay, all these thorough details that I will make down. Okay, so actually I will take pen and paper and I will mark their requirements. So in that case, surveys and interviews, this is the one way for accepting requirements from the user. Second is the generative ones, that means the brainstorming sessions. That means I can say my users to fill some forms for me, to fill some information for me, and based on the information which user has filled, I will take out the requirements. This can also be possible. Either you can go for the direct requirements by using surveys and interviews, or you can go for indirect, that means by using the brainstorming sessions. You will ask your user to play some games with you, or you will ask your user to fill some information for you. Then based on that information which user has filled, you may try to infer the requirements from your user, or based on the games in which how user plays them, how user solves one particular puzzle. So based on that style also you can take some requirements from the user based on their style of means dealing with the things. These are what is the brainstorming sessions by which you can accept the requirements. Okay, now we are going to learn the design process of user centered design. Okay, flow of UCD. See, what you have to do? You have to identify the user's requirement very initially. Okay, once you have your user's requirement with you, next phase is to specify the context of use. That means once you have that what your user wants, secondly what you will do? You will specify the context of use, means where they can use this application, where they can actually employ this application, employ this system. This is what is you have to think upon. Okay, so what will be the target area? So you have to specify what will be the target area of your application, where your system is actually going to be used, in what situation, in what context it is going to be used. Okay, once you have set up all these things, next phase is to specify the requirements. Now again, what are the requirements again? Next, after specifying the requirements, you are being an HCR developer, you will produce the design solutions. Means there can be multiple design solutions, as I stated earlier, that whenever user wants to prepare, user wants to make you a calculator for them. Okay, so there are again n numbers of designs available for this calculator. Either you can make this vertical interface, or you can go for horizontal interface, or in some another way you can arrange your UIs, right? So you will produce the design solution. Next, you will evaluate your designs. If you found that your design is correct, okay, or if you means, let us first try to identify the negative case. If you found that your design is not correct, means you need some improvement, that time what you have to again start with the first step, that is identify need, again specify context of use and so on. But this in what context? When your design is not suitable, or when your design is wrong or faulty. But what if your design is correct, which is very actually correct, which is actually expected from the user, then what you will do? Then it is nothing. The last step, that system satisfies, your system is correct, it is correctly working for your user. Yes or not? This is the flow of user-centered design. Now let us take the example of user-centered design for a very popular example, that is pizza. Yes, very practical example that I am going to discuss right now. Actually, what has happened, few years back, when the pizza dealing company Domino, very popular pizza dealing company, right? So few days back or few months back, I guess, Domino's sale was little down. Okay, their sale or their profit was little decreased. So there were one television ad by which they have marketed their newer version of their pizza. So means I think many of you have been visited that ad. So in that ad they have stated like this कि means in Hindi they have stated like हमने बहुत सारे लोगों से बातचीत की, तो बहुत सारे लोगों ने कुछ फीडबैक्स दिए कि पिज़्ज़ा क्रस्ट ऐसा होना चाहिए, और टॉपिंग्स ऐसी होनी चाहिए, और टॉपिंग्स थोड़ी एक्स्ट्रा होनी चाहिए, चीज़ की क्वांटिटी थोड़ी ज़्यादा होनी चाहिए. So this was the feedbacks from the users of pizza, right? Yes or not? I can obviously say the users now, all those eaters, right? So when the pizza developers, or when their actual marketers, when they have identified that their pizza means market is little down, or it is little decreasing, then they have concentrate on the thing that yes, they want some improvisation, they want some improvements in their pizza. So what they did, so based on this diagram, the developers or the owners of Domino's, they might have decided that specify context of use, means where their pizza can be delivered, in all household, in all houses, in all offices, restaurants, right? That will be their target area. Then they had specified the requirements, that how they want pizza, means topping should be increased, then amount of cheese should be increased, crust should be more fine, or like that way. Then they have produced the design solutions. Design solutions means what? Again, there are multiple ways for you to select your pizza. Like there are n numbers of pizza varieties are there, based on the toppings, based on the crusts. Like then pan pizza will be there, then cheese burst pizza will also be there, then thin size pizza will also be there. N numbers of crusts are available. n numbers of toppings are also available, like from starting from vegetarians, non-vegetarians, corn topping, onions, and multiple jalapenos, multiple ways of toppings are also available. So this is what, this is nothing producing design solutions. Okay, now let us try to identify that they have prepared the design solutions. Means let us now understand that they have developed the pizza with three varieties. One was vegetarian pizza, non-veg pizza, another was the combination of something vegetable pizza. Okay, so for after evaluating the designs against the requirement, what will happen? They will test that pizza, they will test the size of it. Whenever their sample users will identify that yes, the crust is what is as expected, the amount of cheese also what is as expected, amount of veggies also, amount of toppings also as expected, then what? You will redirects you to the system satisfies your pizza. Okay, your working is okay, means whatever the thing that, whatever the way, whatever the approach that you have employed, it was correct to provide the newer version to your pizza. But again, if sometimes, for example, if let's take the example of some non-vegetarian pizza, if suppose your sample users had tested the non-vegetarian pizza, and if you don't found, and if the users haven't found the particular amount of cheese there or particular toppings there, means their expectations, if their expectations gets failed, then what the pizza makers will have to do? They will again start the process iteratively. They will again ask their users, now what exactly you want. They will again produce the design solution, they will again produce some pizzas to their users. The users will again try to evaluate it against their requirements. If the requirements is satisfied or requirements is fulfilled, then you can market that, then you can means your pizza will be ready to get market to go in a market. Otherwise you have to again employ that UCD approach, an iterative design process. Okay, so this is what is the flow of user centered design. Okay, basically you means what you have to understand, that user centered design is nothing but an iterative process. Okay, where the iterations will always be there unless and until you are not getting the correct product. Okay, so this is what related to UCD, which is an iterative design process. Moving on now, let us try to learn few principles of user centered design. There are again few principles of user centered design. First is, it has to be designed for the users and their tasks. Very easy to understand. You are going to design your system not for you but for your users. You have to understand that the users will be the third persons, not you. Means while developing the system, you should think about your users first. Means while developing the system, you should not say that yes, I want this or I feel this and hence I am doing that. No, this is the wrong approach. What you have to think, as I stated earlier, empathy. You have to think like that, how my users will behave, or what my users exactly want, and my user want this, hence I will do this. This is what is the correct approach. Okay, second principle is maintaining consistency, which is again similar to the strive for consistency principle. You should always provide the good consistency to your users, so that to avoid the errors or to any problems. Okay, so consistency should be there. Next principle is use simple and natural dialogue. Okay, means whatever the screen design will be there, or whatever the user interface of your application, it should be easy to understand. Means it should not be too fancy, it should not be too simple. Okay, it should be mixed in between. Okay, means there should not be any excessive animations in your application. Okay, but what is actually expected, you should put that, but you should not going to provide an irrelevant information. What is actually required, that is only you have to add on your screen. Is that clear? Okay, next principle is reduce unnecessary mental effort by the user. Again very similar. What you have to understand, that you don't want your users to think about the task, that okay, what I want to do now. Means for example, again, if I am using this calculator, Okay, means there should not be any situation that I need to think upon. For example, if I want to perform the addition of two numbers, then it is very clearly understandable for me that yes, if I want to perform the addition of two numbers, then I will open my calculator, I will provide two numbers to my calculator, 2, and I will enter the plus button, I have given the another number 3, and then after giving input 2 plus 3 and after pressing the is equals to button, I will get the result to be printed on my screen, on my calculator screen, that is 5. Okay, so it is clearly understandable, yes, what I want exactly. Okay, so I don't need to remember this, no? I don't need to remember where the where the digit 2 is located, where the symbol plus is located. I don't need to remember it, because designers of this calculator have clearly presented things, have means my ability to remember the things is not actually important here, right? Next principle is they provide adequate feedback. Means what? Whenever you are performing certain task, okay, where you are in that task, that is actually important. Okay, means for example, if you are downloading particular file from your browser, then when that file is get downloaded, you can see its progress, yes or not, like 10% finished, 20% finished, 30 finished, or it can be in size format also. For example, if you are downloading 50 MB file, then there will be a progress bar showing that 1 MB complete, 2 MB, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 and so on. This is what? This is an affirmation to you, yes, we are on a right track, means my file will get downloaded in some time. This is what is actually required. This is what? This they provide adequate feedback to you, means where you are in the system. You should able to know that. Means for example, again, if you are working on some form based window, means working on one particular form where you are filling up the form, and the last stage of filling the form is submit, or let's take the example of say online shopping system. Okay, what are the ways, or means what is the process of it? What will I do? I will select some items based on my criteria. I will put all those items in my cart. Okay, second, after that I will proceed for payment. Third, right, after proceeding for the payment, I will enter the payment details. Either I can go for cash on delivery, then debit card, credit card, or some app based payments like Google Pay and all that. Okay, after this, means whenever you are at fourth stage, you can see that previous three stages are completed, and after fourth, fifth and sixth stages remaining, you can see that you are at this stage, previous stages are completed, rest of the stages are remaining. You can see that flow right now. Then after whenever you will select your card, it will move further. It will actually ask you that the card information is correct or not, yes or not, and then you will proceed for the payment. So this is what? Providing the adequate feedback to your user, right? Next is provide adequate navigation mechanisms. Means what? Your system should be able to provide some navigation mechanisms to your user. For example, again I will take the example of Subway Surfer. Whenever you might have installed Subway Surfer for the first time, there will be some navigation feedbacks to you, like now you have to move up, now you have to move down, you have to scroll left or right. So this is possible. Similarly, in case of YouTube, whenever you download YouTube for the first time and use it for the first time, it will allows you to it means it will provide you some navigation mechanisms. Yes, now you can minimize your YouTube window, there you will get the subscriber button, there you will get the bell icon and all that way. This is what? Means helping users to learn the system. Okay, next principle is let the user take charge. Means here you have to believe that you have developed a system for your user. Okay, so means there should not be any case that system is driving the user. There should be a case that user is driving the system as per he wants or she wants. Okay, next principle is present information clearly. Again I will say that there should not be any overuse of animations or too excessive fonts. too excessive color combination. We should present the information very clearly, avoiding the ambiguity, avoiding the confusions. Next is offer assistance to your user. Somehow, if providing all these things, even after providing all these things to your user, if your user has some difficulty in using the application, then your user should be able to contact you by using multiple ways like user manuals or system manual or customer care centers, okay, for helping users for recover them from the errors, right? And the last principle is error free operation. You should employ the error free operation as always. You want your customer satisfaction at its peak, so you will be succeed in that customer satisfaction only when your application will be error free. Okay, so these are what some principles of user centered design. Let's take out one example of user centered design, how UCD can be. See, there is a website, very popular website, firstcry.com. This is mainly meant for, means if somebody don't know what this firstcry meant for, they will be easily get that firstcry.com is for the for online shopping, majorly for the infants or for the smaller babies or for children's, yes or not? For their purpose, this firstcry.com is actually important. So you can say that look and feel of website is actually important, yes or not? So how firstcry, the name itself suggests that this website is meant for the children's, firstcry.com. Then they have given the images which will approach you in that way, yes or not? Then as you have developed, as the developers of firstcry.com had developed this website for the children's or for the goods and stuffs of children's, so they will present the children's things in very attractive way by using some colors, some good fonts, some proper brightness on that. So these are what some things related to user centered design. Okay, one more example. This is what, this is a Braille language, yes or not? Mainly intended for the blind people. Even though they are blind, but still they can enjoy the things, still they can read the articles, they can write the articles also, they can write some things, they can read some things. So how can they? Since they won't be able to read the things like we used to read right now. So for that, Braille language is very important. So there will be some applications, so there will be so based on that characters, based on that Braille sentences, the blind people they will be able to read the sentences, they will be able to write too, yes or not? These are what is the examples of user centered design approach. Okay, so we are ending our session now. In this session we have covered the concept of user centered design, in that we have seen the importance of UCD by employing some terms like empathy, optimism and all that. Then also we have discussed on the terms like business information, business goals, user experience. We have seen that UCD is an iterative process. There we have identified this by using an iterative design flow, identify need, context of use, requirements, produce design solution, and then evaluate them against the requirements of the user. Then we also have seen few principles of UCD and few examples of user centered design. So here our unit number 1 session 4 has ended here, and this was our last session from the unit number 1. So I'm concluding that, I'm saying that our unit number 1 is completed. Okay, so still if you have any doubts regarding this session, you can post me on my standard email ID akanksha.kulkarni@matoshri.edu.in. okay, or either you can also visit my blog agecool22.wixsite.com for continuous material that you can get from my blog, like question papers, some assignments, some real life case studies. Okay, so still if you have any doubts, queries, your feedbacks, comments are always welcome. You can post me on my given email IDs or my blog. Thank you so much.